I felt fine until I put something in my stomach.
Yes, we got hot chocolate after we got out of the cage, and Christopher immediately went to the side of the boat and was there the rest of the time.
Well, they're like, just focus on the horizon. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then you just see like the horizon going up and down. I'm like, this is not helping. Hello and welcome to the Worldwide Honeymoon Travel Podcast, the podcast that talks about all things couples travel, including destinations, tips, advice, and more. I'm Chris.
I'm Kat.
And this is episode number 171.
And we need to bring back aperitivo.
Yeah.
Just here in the States.
I completely agree with that. And aperitivo is just better than happy hour, right?
Well, yeah, and we talked about this last time about the free snacks bit.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. Like, we've done this several times.
I like the mindset of it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we've had aperitivo. Where we've made like an Aperol spritz or a Negroni and just laid out some like olives and cheese and just had a fun time. You know, it was always nice.
Yeah, like a nice little like slow paced ketchup
pre-dinner
before dinner. We also slayed cacio e pepe.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah.
I just want to eat that every day, even though I know that's probably not the best thing to eat, is just melted cheese with pasta water and pepper and pasta.
I was thinking about what to have for dinners next week, and I almost texted you today, like, is there something wrong with having cacio e pepe again?
I guess not, but we probably need like a vegetable on the side.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
I think so. Maybe some sort of veggie.
Maybe.
To go with it or something.
Other than food, how has your week been going?
It's been good. Just trying to update old posts. So
cool.
Always exciting. Getting ready for my next trip.
Your Italy article went live?
Yeah. Honestly, I was not planning to write one that quickly, and I just was trying to figure out things to do and was like, honestly, this is what I feel most inspired to do in the moment, is to write about our trip. And that's what I did, and I'm really glad it's live, and we'll see how it goes. I know it's probably like, when I was writing it, I knew it's probably not going to be something that's like a terribly popular via Google article, because most people, when they're searching for 7 days in Italy, they're like Rome, Venice, Florence, you know, that sort of deal. So we'll see how this sort of off the beaten path itinerary-ish thing goes. But if you want to check it out, it is live on the blog on Worldwide Honeymoon. It's literally our exact itinerary, what we did, what we recommend doing, including all the places we ate and drank and all the good stuff.
All of the indulgences.
All the wonderful things, the tours we took, just everything. So if you're curious and you want to have a trip like that, feel free to go check it out on worldwidehoneymoon.com.
Awesome.
How's your week?
Good. I made my return to the softball diamond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There is nothing that humbles a man quite like slow pitch softball in one's early 30s. I used to play baseball all the time. I think I've mentioned that here before. Like, I played baseball all through high school, growing up, all of that kind of stuff. Played wiffle ball, played softball for years, have not played for quite a while. And, like, I do not use quick twitch muscles, right? Like, I just don't do that with, like, running. Like, I never go from, like, a standstill to a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so sore. I mean, my shoulder is still sore, like my upper back. And this is 3 days later?
Welcome to your 30s.
I know. I know. But yeah, my week has been good. What was your highlight from the week?
I would say the cacio e pepe.
Heck yeah.
It was so good, guys. And it was on Sunday night. We did like a little aperitivo to start with like feta stuffed olives that were great.
So this is my highlight, so I'll jump in as well. I wrote down aperitivo on Sunday.
Yeah, and I found a trick on TikTok of what to do with your Aperol spritz, and it's like you put all your ingredients and then you put an olive in there and mix it up. and you don't leave the olive in, but I guess it gives it a bit of a brininess to it, and that actually elevates it just a little bit more.
Cool.
And it was, it's very good. I've been enjoying those spritzes.
Good. Good. Yeah.
Pretending like we're still in Italy, even though we have been home for almost 2 weeks.
You know what they say though. When in Rome.
When in Ohio.
When in Ohio. Yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of the slower paced on Sunday. That aperitivo going into dinner, it was very nice.
Yeah, now I'm just planning trips for later in the year.
There you go.
Finally planning stuff for some Christmas markets with my family and Provence with my sister and all that stuff.
Figuring out how much Chateauneuf de Pop to bring home.
We'll see. Oh, our wine came in.
It did. We are not yet in possession of it.
Yeah, well, we sent it to your parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for that.
But nothing's broken. Very excited about it.
Yeah. My mom was trying to trick me today. And she said, she was like, yeah, it's a little lighter than when it came. And I was like, oh, really? She was like, yeah, we drank one of the Nebbiolos last night.
There's no way. They are not red wine drinkers.
And I was like, you know what, though? That is good. Like, and I was like, really? Which Nebbiolo? And my dad goes, did your research prepare you for that question? And my mom was like, yes, it did. And I was like, I'll help you. Was it one of the Cabernets? And she said, yeah, it was one of the Cabernet Nebbiolos. And I was like, ha ha ha, I have tricked you. And my dad goes,
yikes.
He was like, see, I told you. It was really funny. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them and to getting that. But anything else before we jump in?
No, I think that's it. Let's dive right into our next bucket list continent.
Yes. So if you have not listened to prior episodes, this is the fourth in a series of episodes where we have looked at a continent and we have listed our top 3 experiences that we have had on that continent personally, not necessarily together, and then the top 3 experiences that we want to have. If we could only do 3 things ever again on a continent, what would those be individually? Episodes 168 through 170 were North America, South America, and Europe, and today we are going to be discussing Africa. Just as how we have done so in the past, we will start off with Africa stats. We have been to 1 country in Africa.
Yeah.
1% of the continent, according to Ben.
Really? 1%?
I know that they do not have 100 countries in
Isn't
Africa.
it 52 or 54 or something?
Well, it says...
Wouldn't it be 2%-ish?
It says 1% on the Ben app.
Okay.
And I mean, who am I to question?
Okay.
So yeah, we've only been to South Africa. I think that South Africa is a trip that we talk about a lot together. It was our first big international trip, kind of sparked this whole thing that we're kind of doing now.
Yep.
I
This
think
happened in 2017.
Yes,
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah, it did kind of, this was right around the time I started Worldwide Honeymoon and really got into the blog and yeah.
Yeah. So I think that our top 3 experiences from Africa are probably going to be pretty similar. I would be shocked if you, if we matched on our top 3 experiences to have. Just because I know just from like talking that I don't think that I've included any of the ones that you've talked about in the past. So we shall see.
We also are planning a trip back to Africa this year.
We are.
Pending any crazy variants, any weird things, God willing at this point. You know what I mean?
Yes, we are planning a trip to Uganda for gorilla trekking, for chimpanzee trekking, and then we're also going to the Masai Mara in Kenya. Knowing that we did that, or knowing that that is on the books, cross your fingers, knock on wood, do whatever else, like spin around, whatever you have to do.
Get anxiety meds for those tiny planes we're going to be flying.
I did not list any experiences that I assume that we will hopefully have on that trip in my top 3 to have.
Okay. I mean, they should be on there, I feel like.
They should be, but like I will hopefully have them. So that's why I did not list them here.
Okay. Well, and we'll talk about those types of experiences later for your own bucket list for the listeners, not just for ourselves.
Right,
but,
right. This
yeah.
is more like inspiration. Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. What was your Number 3 experience that you have had in Africa.
Okay. So Cape Town, the city, just doesn't count, right? Like the whole thing?
Correct.
Okay, this is tough. Again, I feel like we're going to have very similar top 3 because essentially the top 3 is going to be a South Africa bucket list more than anything. And then the rest of it is going to be other places in Africa that we would like to go that should be on a bucket list.
Yes.
Yes.
Your bucket list.
Yeah.
The listener. Yeah.
And inspiration. Yeah, for you guys as well. So I will say that my number 3 is Table Mountain.
Okay. Table Mountain's not in my top 3.
Now, I will say that the experience of climbing up Table Mountain was a bit traumatic.
That was a bottom 3
If you guys have you, oh my gosh, if I can speak. If you guys have not been around that long and you are newer listeners, you will know that, or you probably won't know that when we went to Cape Town, we did hike up Table Mountain and only brought about 16 ounces of water. Turned out to be about 75 degrees and super, super sunny. That's Fahrenheit. And super sunny outside. And got dehydrated pretty quickly. Had no water. Christopher almost licked the side of a mountain where there was little bits of water dribbling down. We weren't really sure where that water was coming from.
It was liquid.
And then, or who it was coming from, if it was even water. And then Christopher, or luckily there was a very nice person who had all this extra water and gave us some. And we were able to make it to the top of the mountain where we immediately went to the gift shop and purchased
Snacks.
Gatorade, waters, and lots of snacks because we also didn't bring snacks and didn't realize how difficult it would be to hike up Table Mountain when it's basically just a gigantic uneven staircase for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we were very unprepared. Definitely pack at least 2 liters of water per person if that's what if you're going to do that, and snacks. Just like some trail mix or something, an apple, something to sustain you during that hike, and lots of sunscreen because it can be very, very sunny. And while that wasn't exactly a highlight climbing it, the top was very beautiful to get this big aerial view of Lion's Head, and you could see, or is it Robben Island?
Yes.
Robben Island. And just the whole Cape and downtown, and it's absolutely stunning. And it's a national park at the top of it, too. So there's a lot to see and do just on Table Mountain.
It was neat.
So it is really neat. The hike is hard. You could also just take the they're not the bubbles. What are they
Funicular?
called? The funicular. I'm so used to...
bubbles.
No, guys, because I studied abroad in Grenoble, and they called their funicular les bulles, so like the bubbles.
Oh, okay.
But they actually look like bubbles.
Fair enough.
So I always think of like, oh, it's the bubbles, not funicular. Funicular, you could take that up. I think we took that down, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, because we were pretty...
gassed.
Yeah, afterwards. So
That was a lot of fun, though.
it was fun. Definitely a highlight in South Africa is climbing Table Mountain and then taking the funicular down. Just be prepared when you do it.
Yes.
Don't do what we did.
Yes. My number 3 was shark cage diving in Gansbai.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't put that on my list.
That wasn't in your top 3?
I know, but it's up there, like for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really, really cool experience. Not only in the cage, but also on the boat itself. I mean, with the...
Except for when you got seasick.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll happen. That'll happen.
It is choppy out there.
It was incredibly choppy because the Atlantic meets the Indian Ocean right there.
And it's called the Cape of Storms.
Yes.
Too.
And I felt fine until I put something in my stomach.
Yes, we got hot chocolate after we got out of the cage, and Christopher immediately went to the side of the boat and was there the rest of the time.
Well, they're like, just focus on the horizon. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then you just see like the horizon going up and down. I'm like, this is not helping. But shark cage diving was really, really cool.
Yes, and it's with a marine biologist. You go with marine dynamics.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about it, and it kind of changed my mind about sharks. I mean, I still respect them, and I still certainly will get out of the water if one is near. But being in the cage, you kind of, I don't know, at first I kind of thought they were just these mindless, like, attack whatever moves sort of things, you know? Which is kind of...
What?
Well, I don't know.
They're smart.
No, I know that they're smart, but I just was
Why
like...
you have to disrespect the great white?
Oh my gosh. I know that they're very smart. But you realize how calm they are too. Like
Sure.
I just thought they would be extremely aggressive, out for the kill, that sort of thing. Like Professor, anytime he sees a bug in our house,
Yes.
and likes to like menacingly play with it. But they're actually quite calm.
Yeah.
It was actually very interesting to see them move in the water and how calm that they could be. And we saw them breach the water. One of them leapt out of the water.
Yeah. A few times.
Yeah,
they
a few
leapt out.
times. And just being that close to them and seeing them, it was like, okay, this isn't as like if I was out in the blue and not in a cage, I would still be terrified if one came near me.
Sure.
But they're not always like in it to kill, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they also seem kind of curious and just kind of like doing their thing.
It's something that your folks will love whenever we go to South Africa.
But I got in the cage twice. It was
You did,
it was
yeah.
very interesting to see and to observe. So it gave me a new respect for the great white shark.
Very
and
neat.
I always have loved Shark Week. So
Very neat
it
experience.
was great.
What was your number 2?
My number 2 was wine country. So the Cape Winelands, Stellenbosch and Franschhoek.
Awesome. That is my number 2 as well.
Yes. And we went to a bunch of different wineries. Our favorite is definitely Annandale. That's where we have our anniversary wine is what we call it.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. Loved Oak Cabrera and Franschhoek because it's kind of built in the side of a mountain. But all of the wineries we went to are fantastic. Stellenbosch is adorable. Franschhoek is adorable. Very cute towns. And beautiful scenery.
Cannon Cop was incredible.
Oh, yeah. If you want a really good Pinotage, Cannon Cop was fantastic.
Yes.
What's your number 2?
Stellenbosch.
Okay.
Stellenbosch,
So the
yeah.
Winelands, yeah.
Yep. That was a great day. The scenery was stunning. I feel like it always is. Whenever you're like, oh, we're going to go to the wineries for a day, it's always going to be beautiful scenery, right?
I know. I haven't seen like an ugly wine country.
Right.
Ugh, so gross. All these beautiful vineyards butting up against hills and mountains. Just
Right.
awful.
But yeah, Annandale was very special. Cannon Cop was special. A lot of them were. Just, I mean, it was a very interesting experience. It was a very unique experience too, with some of the grapes grown down there, like Pinotage, for example, that you don't get to find in other locations. So that was pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure we have the same number 1.
Kruger National Park, Simbavati.
Yeah, the Timbavati Game Reserve, and staying at Simbavati River Lodge.
Yes.
Up against Kruger National Park.
Yes.
Definite highlight. We saw the Big 5 many times over.
Yes. Something unique about this area, though, the Timbavati, is that it's known for leopard. So
yes, and that was one of the first of the Big 5 that we saw on our first game drive. Like we saw elephants coming into the park.
We also saw a leopard coming into the park
I think
too.
that was the first animal we saw was a leopard.
Yes. Yeah. So but yeah, we saw leopard. We saw leopard kills in trees. We saw leopards all over the place. We saw a leopard getting a little bit of a tiff with a warthog.
Yeah. The warthog won.
The warthog won. Yeah, really, really neat area. Stunning scenery. And yeah, just like an experience that I will remember for the rest of my life. Remember the honey badger?
Remember the baby
Hyena?
hyena? I was going to say jackal for whatever reason.
Yeah.
A baby hyena, so cute. He was very curious, and like his mom was just over, like the mom was right over there, but he kept coming up close and then running away and coming up close and running away. It was like he was playing with us.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
Very, very neat experience. It's one of those locations where you are, like, your accommodations are in their home sort of thing. So, I mean, there were elephants and giraffes and everything like that.
A lot of warthogs.
going all around the tents where we were staying.
I got scared by a antelope of some sort.
Yes.
What is the one with the like spirally horns?
Kudu, if I remember.
Kudu,
correctly?
yes. It was in the middle of the path one night, and we had our guide, like you have to have a guide take you back at night because it's dark, and they have like their little flashlight and everything, and we flash it, there's a kudu, and I jump back, the kudu jumps back, and then the guide just kind of like kicks some dust at it and it runs away. But like they are everywhere. Yeah, you can see them wherever.
Really, really neat though to be like, I mean, you're dining, you're having your afternoon tea, you're having your breakfast, what have you, and there's elephants coming up. There's warthogs. There's a whole bunch of wildlife. There's the baboons. There's the monkeys. You are very much in nature, which is awesome. Anything else you want to say about experiences that we have had, or do you want to jump into the 3 that we would like to have?
Before we get into the 3 that we like to have, let's talk about our bucket list where we're actually going so that people can have some inspiration as well, because this was your number 1 bucket list thing ever that we're hoping to experience this August-September timeframe.
Yes, and that's a great point. It is a mountain gorilla trek for me. You can access the park through Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, Rwanda, or Uganda. We chose Uganda.
Yeah, it's one of the cheaper ones and easier. Well, there's just a lot more like infrastructure for tourism there. Yeah. And it's actually cheaper for your gorilla permit than in Rwanda, where it's like double the cost.
So we are planning to go into Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. Mm-hmm. And the way that the gorilla permit works is that you pay for a specific day, and if it's a beautiful day, great. If it is pouring down rain, that is still the day that you paid to interact with the gorillas. So we're going out rain or shine, but you get to spend 1 hour with the gorillas once you find them, right? So it's a rather large hike. Well, it could be short, it could be long, depending upon where they're at.
And a guide usually knows where they're at. Yeah, because they have guides that kind of go check in on them a lot. They're habituated at this point where they're used to having people. Yes, that's why you only get an hour. Because they're used to that. They're used to having 1 hour a day interaction with humans, and then they have the rest of the day where they just do whatever they want. Yes. So that's kind of how that works, is them being habituated where they're used to it, and that's why you're not allowed to spend more than an hour with them, because you don't want to stress them out.
Yeah, but I have always loved gorillas. I mean, gorilla has always been my favorite animal. And like, even as a kid, like, I remember I had like a whole bunch of like gorilla stuffed animals, and I always just like loved it. I always loved going to the big apes at the zoo. So I am super pumped for this. I am going to be wearing a black t-shirt during our gorilla trek.
Is that not recommended?
I don't know, but I will assimilate.
You're just going to assimilate?
I'm one of the pod.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Like, you are obviously staying a distance from them, but I mean, there's nothing stopping them from approaching you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that this is going to be an incredible experience, but we're also going to Queen Elizabeth National Park.
So that's another bucket list item, is to see the tree climbing lions. So there are only, I think, 2 places in Africa that you can see this phenomenon where lions will climb and hang out in trees, because that's not a normal behavior for them in many other places in Africa. And Queen Elizabeth National Park is one of the more famous places to experience that. So that was the big reason why I really wanted to go to Queen Elizabeth National Park. And then a chimp trek you can also do. Yes. And that is going to be, I believe, in Kabale, where you can go see the habituated chimps. So instead of gorillas, it's just habituated chimp families, and you get to spend some time with them and observe them as well.
And then the Masai Mara and the Great Migration in Kenya was your big addition to the trip.
Yes. And so, yeah, the Masai Mara, it's also very well known for like the hot air balloon safaris and, seeing the big 5, especially the Great Migration, very popular in Kenya as well as in Tanzania, but this is in the Masai Mara. So that is kind of where we're planning to go on our trip. And let's actually get into our other bucket list items outside of those. Yeah,
absolutely. So why don't you go first? And I do not have mine in any specific order.
Okay, mine is the pyramids in Egypt.
Okay.
And just going to see all of the, like, there's a cruise that you can take along the Nile River. Well, I think it's all an experience to go see like the Valley of the Dead and like or Valley of the Kings and all of that stuff. I thought you were going to say just
Egypt.
Just Egypt, period. But yeah, I would definitely say getting to see the pyramids in Egypt. Maybe not necessarily in Cairo, because I feel like that's like
city limits.
It's like city. You turn. You're like at a KFC and you turn around and there are the pyramids. Now that's still cool, But like, I really want to experience the little cruise along the Nile where you actually get to stop at like different places and
Awesome.
and see the pyramids. That's definitely up there for me.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
My first one is to visit Ngorongoro Crater in Tanzania. Massive crater, the highest density of big game in Africa. And that's just kind of like from the pictures and from the description, and something that has always been something that has drawn me in. Is that on your list?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Originally, instead of the Masai Mara, we were going to do Ngorongoro Crater.
Yeah.
But we did not realize how much more expensive Tanzania is to go on safari than Kenya, or
Yeah.
at least Ngorongoro Crater versus
Yeah.
the Masai Mara. And we definitely want to go to Tanzania for sure. But because Uganda was so expensive with all the permits to see the chimps and the gorillas, we were like, okay, maybe we'll save that one for another trip. But Ngorongoro Crater is a big one for me, just because you have all of these animals in this crater. So you're gonna see some stuff.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how did that? Because I know that is kind of high up on your list. What initially drew you to it?
Well, one of my really good friends, Amanda from Dangerous Business, went a couple of years ago, and she said her favorite, because she also went to the Masai Mara, she went to Serengeti and Ngorongoro Crater, and she said Ngorongoro was just the highest concentration of animals.
Awesome.
So you know how in South Africa, when you go on safari, at least where we were near Kruger, you drive and try to find animals, and she was like, you see them all the time in Ngorongoro,
okay.
because they're in that crater. Like, you're gonna see them off in the distance somewhere.
Cool.
So I think that's really neat. That's definitely what drew me to it. I feel like she's definitely given us a lot of inspiration for animal themed trips. So definitely check out a Dangerous Business, because she has the polar bear safari and the lots of the overlanding in Africa with the safaris and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But that's definitely up there for me.
So you've talked about two of yours. My next one is hold on.
Take a breath.
Yikes. Yeah. My goodness. Singi de Bamara National Park in Madagascar.
Oh. Is this inspired by Obama's nature documentary with the lemurs?
Yes. So there's Great and Little Singi, which are the limestone spikes, spires, pinnacles, all of that you see. And they have climbing harnesses that you can go there. They have these aerial suspension bridges. It's a pretty like active, technical, like fitness requirement trip. But they have 11 different types of lemurs. They have mongoose. They have a whole bunch of wildlife that really a lot of people don't visit it just because of how like physically challenging it is. But yeah, it was something that I knew about before seeing it in the National Parks documentary that President Obama narrates. But that was incredible. Like, seeing it from those angles was just unreal, and I'm like, yeah, that would be a great place. Great place to visit. And Madagascar is just kind of its own mythical place.
Yeah.
So yeah. Can I guess the country of your last one?
Sure.
Morocco.
Yes.
All right.
I really, really want to spend a night or two in the Sahara Desert. I think that would be, Morocco is a dream trip anyway, but to spend a night in the Sahara Desert under the stars in a tent, a luxury tent, I think would be such a bucket list item. There's no light pollution. So obviously you have the beautiful, vibrant stars. You get some of the culture, Moroccan culture, and just great food. And I don't know, it just looks very, very romantic to spend the night under the stars in the Sahara Desert of Morocco. So I think that's definitely a bucket list item for me.
Awesome. My last one, do you want to take a guess?
Botswana?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, go me.
Yeah. Okavango Delta in Botswana. Ton of big game, right? Lions, leopards, giraffe, rhinos. But the big draw for me is that the Delta area offers the chance to canoe amongst hippos, elephants, crocodiles, and
sounds like a blast.
I was
not dangerous at all.
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, one of these days, my obsession with like getting as close to nature as possible is going to kill me.
Please don't.
But yeah, I mean, hippos are aren't they the most dangerous animal in Africa?
Mosquitoes.
Well, okay.
Aside from mosquitoes.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, but I think that canoeing amongst hippos, elephants, I think that would be amazing. And the Okavango Delta has really made strides for sustainable tourism. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's always a cause that you feel good supporting. So I mean, fantastic area, doing the right thing. It's a win-win.
Do you have any honorable mentions for bucket list items?
I do not. I stuck with the 3. What about you? I guess my honorable mentions would be the Uganda, like the reason that we're going over there this year.
The Seychelles, cruising along the Seychelles.
Oh, nice.
That would be like a luxury little beach trip, going on like a small cruise along the Seychelles, especially like Dingue and like these other islands that have the beautiful soft sandy beaches and crystal clear water and giant boulders. And it looks very romantic. I think a lot of celebrities, I think Beyonce honeymoon there, Will and Kate honeymoon there.
Awesome.
Very romantic, beautiful place. Victoria Falls, in the kind of on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe would be really, really cool to see as well. And I just always have tons and tons of bucket list items everywhere. So those are the biggest ones.
There was another national park, or there was another, I believe it was a national park in that documentary. I want to say that it was in Gabon, where the hippos went into the ocean.
Yes.
That would be cool.
That would be really neat to see. I did not know that existed until the nature documentary. And I really want to see that now.
There's a never-ending list of things that I want to experience, places that I want to see. I also just realized that all 3 of mine are all animal related, which is that's on par.
Oh, I was going to say Giraffe Manor, and that's just more of a luxury romantic stay, but you get to feed the giraffes in the morning, which is kind of fun too.
That's cool.
That they come in through the window, like their little heads, and I love giraffes.
Their little heads?
They're big heads, I guess, but like
those tongues.
I guess relative to their body, they're pretty small.
Right.
But I love giraffes. They're one of my favorite animals.
Yeah.
And so it would be really cute to like stay at Giraffe Manor and like get to feed the giraffes and stuff.
Awesome.
But that is very expensive, which is why that was not part of our trip this year.
There it is. Cool.
That's it. That's our Africa bucket list. Let us know where you guys would like to go to in Africa and what your bucket list is. You can always reach us on Twitter at WWHoneymoon, Instagram at Worldwide Honeymoon, or email cat@worldwidehoneymoon.com. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate and review our podcast. It takes less than a few minutes and really helps other people find us. Also, if you're enjoying this awesome free information on both the blog and podcast, when you're booking your next trip, head over to worldwidehoneymoon.com/resources and use the links provided. We earn a small commission at no cost to you when you book through these links, and these are all brands and companies we know, love, and use, like Skyscanner for finding the best flight prices, World Nomads for the best travel insurance, TripAdvisor for hotel bookings and reviews, and even Amazon for all of your travel purchases.
Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Wherever you are, wherever you go, remember to make every day a worldwide honeymoon.